Alright, continuing back down the Yu-Gi-Oh rabbit hole, me as a player, I have grown to really love decks with reactionary interaction, soft interaction as it is called. Decks that rely on the ability of waiting for your opponent to make a certain play for your deck to activate to stop them at certain moments. I am not afraid of having a deck that can throw up an Omni-Negate or two, and just kind of rock with that. The deck list that we are going to be doing, as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, we are going to be doing a Ryu-Ge Voiceless voice deck. This deck has some very odd synergy, as the entire Ryu-Ge stuff can be searched off of the Voiceless voice stuff, because so say Misfa is a light dragon, and that is one of the elements and types that the Voiceless voice searches out. So you're actually able to do your Voiceless voice plays and then go straight into Ryu-Ge, and since Voiceless voice doesn't necessarily lock you, you're able to just completely follow through with your Ryu-Ge stuff. This deck has a strange synergy though, where it's very kind of one-sided. Ryu-Ge doesn't lead into Voiceless voice, but Voiceless voice completely leads into Ryu-Ge. So the Ryu-Ge package in this deck actually leads to a powerful enough end board where it's not reliant on utilizing the Voiceless voice stuff, but the main meat of the deck is Voiceless voice going into Ryu-Ge, and that is why most of the deck is going to be centered around getting that strategy up first, so you can lead into your Ryu-Ge plays. But if you're forced to go only Ryu-Ge, you're not backed into a corner, you have options. So with that said, let's just get right into it. We are just going to start from the top left, move to the bottom right. I'm just going to go over what the card's main purpose is for the deck, and then we're just going to hop into a quick ranked game. Start off with low. This deck is your starter. This is one of your normal summon targets. It gets out a continuing spell, puts it on the field. It counts as a full tribute for your Voiceless voice stuff or any light dragon rituals. So it's great for literally just these two here, Synergies and Skull Guardian. It is the main meat of the deck. You want this card at all times. 2 Maxi, pretty self-explanatory. You need to play Maxi until it gets banned. Diviner of the Herald is pretty much going to send away this card, but basically on normal summon you can send away a fairy monster from your deck or extra deck. It could be a Herald of the Archetypes if you are in need of a little extra help, or a Tree's Hierarchy. Once this card is tributed, you can special summon a fairy, which will lead right into low. So this card is another key starter for the deck. Herald is just broken for any ritual-based deck. Saphira is basically our search. You're going to discard this card, search a light ritual monster, and that can also be your Misfa if you already have Skull Guardian in hand. Then you can use its graveyard effect to ritual summon. So it is basically you want to go low, search into your Barrier of the Voiceless voice, then you want to search into Saphira so you can search out Skull Guardian. So then you can use Saphira to get Skull Guardian out of the field. Skull Guardian is going to come out. You're going to get your Ryu-Ge Misfa. Bam! Pretty much. That's where you're going. Synergies is just kind of extra board presence. It basically reads here that when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can return this card to your field of hand, special summon one light ritual monster from your hand or deck. So this is basically your link into your ritual Synergies, which is a very strong card. Tree's Hierarchy is only in here for target and Diviner of the Herald. You can use it from the graveyard to tribute a monster to special summon it on the board. You're not going to get any special effects. It's just for activating Diviner of the Herald at its fullest. Getting into a bit of the Ryu-Ge package, just to roughly break it down, we are doing 1 Kaiva, 2 Emva, and 2 Hakva. Kaiva searches out your Dino domain. Enma does not have a target, but it is a 2-of in this deck because it is just key for specific plays off the field spell. It also has a pretty nice effect of special summoning itself from the graveyard if 2 or more monsters were sent from the hand or deck this turn. Hakva is your link into War of Wind, and it's at 2-of because it's one of your more important cards to get out on the field. You want to have War of Wind set up for your plays. Synergies is a on-field, like half Solemn Judgment. Yeah, it is a half Solemn Judgment, which will allow you to bounce it back to your hand to then get a targeted effect negation. Very nice card. It's searchable just about off of everything here. Skull Guardian is your main ritual. We only play this at a 2 because you don't want to see this too much in your hand, but you want just enough to continue on a grindy game. But it doubles its attack stat if low is in the graveyard or on the field. It is an Omni-Negate, and it searches another light dragon, which can be Synergies or your Misfa. Misva, we're not going to go too crazy into what Misva does, but when it's special summoned out onto the field, you can destroy Ryu-Ge cards that you control in order to set continuous spells, which you can get into Dino Domain and Wyrmwind, which is very nice. So it special summons itself from the extra deck once you utilize its ability, but it's mostly going to be there for the pendulum effect. Once you place it in the pendulum zone, you can search out any Ryu-Ge card that you would like and then destroy it and send it to the extra deck. And most of the time, you're going to use its pendulum effect to bring out your Ryu-Ge War Zone. We play 3 pre-prep of rights just because it's phenomenal. It searches your low and then it searches your ritual spell. Bam. We play 1 War Zone because it is searchable off of Misva, but this is your field spell that allows you to add 1 Dinosaur, Sea Serpent, or 1 Worm and 1 Wyrmwind from your deck. Add 1 to your hand, banish 1 and send it, and then it allows you to special summon 1 card from your deck, graveyard, and banish zone. So that is why we are playing the specific ratios that we are, because this you want multiple of in the graveyard in order to get a special summon effect. This, you can search this off of War Zone, add it to your hand, use its effect to banish itself to get Wyrmwind, and then utilize Warzone at its fullest. So basically what you want to do with Warzone is you want to add Hakva to your hand, send this to the graveyard, banish Kaiba, so you'll have 1 Hakva left in the deck. You can utilize Hakva's effect to banish itself, search Wyrmwind, and then use Warzone to bring out all 3 of these cards at the same time. Now keep in mind that once you do this, you are then locked to Dinosaur, Serpent, or Worm monsters. So once you use this card, you are locked. We are playing 2 of the Prayer of the Voiceless Voice ritual spell. It's just a ritual out our guys. You can banish this card to special summon a Seravis, Saphira, or Skull Guardian, just straight ignoring their ritual summon needs if a light ritual monster that you control leaves the field by card effect, which is actually really nice. It's great for recursion. This is the main meat of the deck as well. While you control low and a light ritual monster, the only card that can be targeted is this card here, and then this searches the Voiceless Voice or Skull Guardian. So really nice card, must play at a 3. We play Dino Domain because 1 Dino Domain and 1 Wyrmwind. These are both the searchable spells, but we don't want to clog this deck too much with the Ryu-Ge continuous spells. But Dino Domain basically allows you to give a Ryu-Ge the effect of negating a card that has less attack than the Ryu-Ge monster. And this is a very soft Macrocosmos. This card kind of sucks, but it still puts pressure on the opponent. Any monster sent from the field to the graveyard during your opponent's turn is banished instead. So they could still ditch cards from the hand, they could still ditch cards from the deck, they could still ditch cards from the extra deck. It is only on the field to the graveyard. This card is a very soft Macrocosmos, but it's not too great, but it still puts pressure on your opponent, still makes them think, and it also does give you an edge in certain matchups, but it is not the bane of all existence of a floodgate that a lot of people seem to think. 1 Called by the Grave, 1 Forbidden Droplet. We are playing 3 Ryu-Ge Rising. This card effectively just gets you your Misva, adds it to your hand. You can put the Misva to the extra deck. You're never going to do that. You're just going to add the Misva to your hand so you can just play Ryu-Ge. This is just a starter for the Ryu-Ge combos. Also a pretty nice aspect. 2 Imperm and then 1 Radiance of the Voiceless Voice for destruction. You're mostly going to use this for destruction, but the special summon effect when you shuffle 1 light ritual monster or a ritual spell from your hand or graveyard back to the deck, and if you do add it to your hand or special summon a voice, this is just nice recursion, but it's mostly just going to be for the targeted destruction down there at the bottom. Moving on to the extra deck, because we have means of sending stuff from the extra deck to the graveyard with Rider the Herald. Of course, we are going to want to play some cards that can abuse that. We have Elder Entity Entis. You play 1 card. When this card is sent from the extra deck, you can just pop something on the field. 2 Herald of the Arclight. It just allows you to search anything ritual related. It's very nice. If you can special summon this thing to the board, it is also an Omni Negate, which is very nice. 1 Baron to 4. You can actually get this summoned if you send the correct card away. Another Chaos Angel. Again, you can get this out if you send the correct cards away. You're mostly not going to use these 2. I'll tell you that. I've never had a game so far where I've used these 2, but there are situations where they can. On additional detach from the Omni Negate, you can destroy a card on the field. When it attacks, you can destroy a card on the field. When it gets destroyed, you can destroy a card on the field. This is just, I'm going to destroy a bunch of shit off the field, apply a bunch of pressure, Omni Negate. Bam. 1 Typhon, just in case. It's come up a few times, not really too much. Linkaribo, if we need to send low to the graveyard. Amaraj, again, if we need to send low to the graveyard. IP Masquerena. 1 Cross Sheep. 1 Lena, the Light Charmer. 2 Dynamundo, this card's come up just a few times. Very great for ritual decks. On special summon, you can target a card on the field. And 1 ritual monster in your graveyard and shuffle them both back into the deck. This is great for recursion for your Skull Guardians. This is also another means of just popping stuff off. And then SP Low Knight. These link cards are just kind of there as options if you really need them, but I'll tell you straight, most of the time I haven't really touched them. You could fill out with an extra Varudras, you could fill out with an extra Herald of the Arclight, you could fill out with an extra Dynamundo. These are just cards I like to have as just additional options, just in case, because some of the things that you can do with like Linkaribo, you can send away low, you can special summon out Skull Guardian at any point in your combo, or even get this guy out, low will come back out, and then you can link off into SP Limo Knight to get the full effect. So you're not using some of these guys here. But that is the deck list and what the cards are going to be doing. These are the ratios we're working with. Let's go ahead and hop into a very quick ranked game to try and show off a bit of the combos. Now, one of the things I didn't mention at the start, which I did kind of forget about, so we'll talk about it now as we load into a game. The deck does have some very good resilience. The deck is very resilient in going second, and it sets up a very good first turn board. It really likes its Voiceless Voice stuff. You really want its Voiceless Voice stuff to really kick off, to get full into what this deck can do. You want to go first, which is what I am doing right now. You can go second. You can build stuff going second. Do not get it twisted. But this deck loves going first. It wants to set up its board. It wants to play the game that it does. And this is a phenomenal hand. So I'm going to tell you right now, what we're going to do is we're going to throw out Ryu-Ge Ryzen. It's just simply to attempt to bait Ash Blossom. If we could bait Ash Blossom, that'd be great. All right, so he definitely has something. And since we already have Misva in hand, we're going to grab Hakva. We are going to use Hakva. We're going to banish it. Still no, he's still not doing it. He is still not doing it. All right, in this case here, he did have additional interaction there, so he's probably got max C. If he ashes this, is fine. Ghost, because pre-prep specifically mentions the graveyard. Well, that kind of sucks. Okay, well, we're gonna set Misva here. We're gonna use Misva. We are going to add Dino Domain. We are now going to activate Ryu-Ge Warzone. So we are kind of just beat into using only our Ryu-Ge stuff. So we are going to select these. Since we already banished the one Misva, we have to do it like this. We want to put this to our hand. I'm sorry, Hakva. We want to banish this. There we go. So we still have the one Enva in deck. We now have a Hakva in here, and we have a Kaiva here. We can now use Ryu-Ge Warzone. Just go ahead and special summon all of our boys here. Now, unfortunately, he did stop us from going into Voiceless Voice, but this is just going to kind of lead into what I was talking about before. We're just going to make our Varudras. You want to keep a Ryu-Ge on the board. You do not want to use all three in making this. Now we activate Dino Domains. Now we activate Wyrmwind. So now we have a very soft Macrocosmos. We have a Monster Effect Negate as long as it's less than 3,300. We have an Omni Negate and a Destruction if we choose to use it with Ash Blossom in hand. So we didn't get into any of our Voiceless Voice stuff, but this is what the Ryu-Ge package can offer this deck as a first turn board. So we still have good interaction. Unfortunately, we don't really have much follow-up. So we kind of need to really stop them here in order to, in order to continue to play the game. I got someone spectating me. So let's see what's going on here. Let's see what they're playing. 10 Pi. We're gonna ash that. That's funny. Okay, much like what we did with our Goblin video, if you guys would like to see a follow-up with just more dedicated matches with the Ryu-Ge deck list, please let me know in the comments down below. But that is just a nice little showcase of what the deck can offer as a first turn board, even without the Voiceless Voice stuff, which is still pretty nice. That was an Omni Negate, a targeted effect negate, a pop if we so choose to use Varudras like an effect to the Omni Negate, and an Ash Blossom in hand. That's 4 interactions, which is really nice. Not great, like you could definitely have so much more, but it is still definitely feasible. But like you could still get another Omni Negate on board, you could still get a targeted pop on board, you can get plenty of recursion using the Voiceless Voice stuff, and all the Voiceless Voice stuff perfectly leans into the Ryu stuff, but as you saw, it doesn't go both ways. So you can still get good boards. I wouldn't so much say this deck is as strong as something that can hold its own in the meta. This is a very rogue deck, a little on the power creep side, but it's still very fun for me to play. Very mid-rangey control, which is what I prefer. It can still give you some really powerful boards. Like, the deck still definitely can hold its own. It's just not something I would say, yeah, go ahead and take this into an online. I would not say that, but it's still a fun deck, nevertheless. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and that'll be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to y'all later.